Hi, I'm Joe Cochran with NorthlineExpress.com, and in this short video I just want to go over the main keys to look for in your room before you purchase and install your wood stove. So the number one thing to consider is to look for obstructions that are going to hinder the installation of your wood stove. Some of those instructions would be things like windows that are too close to the wood stove, doorways that are going to open and maybe hit or bump the wood stove, or that will infringe on the clearance to that wood door. Of course, anything on the wall, any lighting above the stove itself, or any furniture that might end up being too close to the wood stove to meet those clearances. So it's real important to just get out the tape measure. Sometimes we even print off the owner's guide to the stove that you're looking to purchase prior to even purchasing it, and just look through it, see what the clearances are, see what the measurements are, and get real comfortable with the area in your room that you're going to be installing the wood stove. While you're doing that, you can also download or print off this sheet from our website. It's called Submit a Sketch, and we've got several different variations for it. So the one I'm holding here is for a single story installation. We've also got them for multi-story homes and cathedral ceilings. And what you can do is, while you're checking the area that you're going to install the stove, you can also be taking your measurements so that when you're ready to purchase the stove or when you're ready to purchase your chimney pipe, you'll have everything there with you. So I'm going to go ahead and start taking my measurements here, fill out our form, and then once I'm done in this area here, we're going to go up to the attic space, and that's going to be the next area we want to check. Once we know that our room is clear and going to work for our installation, we still need to check the attic, and then we need to check outside, and on top we still need to check the roof. So let's go ahead and take our first measurement here. Now we've got our stove and our stove board already in place. The stove isn't centered on the board yet. We're going to show you how to do that in another video. But right now we're going to take our measurement from the top of the stove board to the ceiling. If you didn't have your stove board, that'd be fine. You just take your measurement from the floor up. So we'll go ahead and get this measurement real quick. We've got a tall ceiling here. So we've got 116 inches, which is nearly 10 feet. And so I'll just mark that down on my form here. We'll go from the floor to the ceiling, 116 inches. We're going to go ahead and stop the video here, and we're going to go up to the attic and show you what to check for there and how to measure. All right, we're up here in the attic now. And in this section, obviously we didn't really take a lot of measurements. I don't know exactly where we're going to come through the attic, so I can't take specific measurements here. But what I want to do in the attic is I want to look for any sort of obstructions that are going to hinder my ability to run the pipe through. And so I'm just looking around the area. In the far back, I don't know if you can see it back there, but there's an electrical line. I would want to make sure that I'm not too close to that. One of the areas where you can get caught is if you don't lift up your insulation. So you need to kind of lift up some of this insulation and make sure that there isn't any plumbing down here. Feel it around. I like to just check through and make sure that there's no electrical lines, plumbing, anything like that. I'm looking for any other vents that might be running through here, a bathroom fan vent, a vent from a range hood, anything like that. And then another thing I want to see is if the trusses and the rafters are all going the same direction, so that I can come straight through without having to put in any offsets. In some areas where you have a hip in the roof or something like that, you may end up with a situation where your actual trusses are running a different direction than your rafters themselves, and you might find that as you come up, you're going to have to offset that elbow and come up. So those are things to watch for. In this portion where we're measuring, obviously when we do the installation, we're going to be much further back under the attic, but for now I just want to get an idea, and through the insulation, kind of eyeballing it, it looks like we're going to be about 2 feet. So once I install my ceiling support box, I know I'm going to need about 2 feet of pipe to get through the roof itself and then get up and extend it from there. So those are the things you want to look for in the attic. We're not going to spend a lot of time up here because it's real hot. So we're going to get ready and go check out the roof and see what there's anything out there. And we're also going to take a look outside just to make sure that there's nothing else coming in. We'll see you out there. Okay, so here we are outside the house, and if we were doing a through the wall installation, we'd really need to check this area for anything like electrical boxes maybe outside here. You might look for any sort of plumbing. Sometimes the furnaces might vent outside the side of the home. You need to watch for all those sorts of things. We want to look for sidewalks, make sure there's no sidewalks close by because there's clearances from a sidewalk to a vent like that. Those are all things that you really need to check with your local codes on. I can't really give you all of the details on what to look for because the local codes in every area are a little different. But you should check with your local codes and just watch for anything like that on the outside of the house if you're doing a through-the-wall installation. So for the ceiling supported installation like we're going to be doing in our example here, next we got to get on the roof. So we'll see you up there. Okay, so here we are on the roof, and as part of your pre-planning, you want to get up here and just look for other things that might be hindering or stopping your installation, any obstructions, bathroom fan vents, any sort of other pipes coming up through the roof, electrical lines running into the roof, other chimney stacks. There's all sorts of things at the roof level that could obstruct your chimney from coming through where you're planning. So I always recommend you jump up, you take a look around, walk the roof a little bit, make sure that you're clear, and that should be it. Okay, so basically what we've taken is dimensions from the floor to the ceiling in our initial portion of the video and measured 116 inches. We estimated approximately 2 feet in the attic space, and another 3 feet is assumed that has to penetrate through the roof just to give you a good draft. It may need to be more than that, but we're figuring a minimum of 3 feet there. And then our roof pitch was a 612. So based on these dimensions, we went ahead and sketched out the stove itself. The stove we're looking at is the Vogelzang Ponderosa model. That measures 32.5 inches from the base to the top of the collar. From the collar to our ceiling leaves 83.5 inches. Now we're going to have a ceiling support box that's going to protrude down through the ceiling, so it's going to take away a couple inches here, but we're going to go ahead and just assume that we need about 83 inches of pipe. That's going to include one adjustable length for your stovepipe. So with this dimensions and with everything here, we should be able to order everything we need for this wood stove installation.